Warning! Tons of violence, adult themes are in this game and will possibly be talked about in this review. I'd steer clear if you're not a fan. This is your warning. Also, if you're kinda young, maybe skip this one as well. Alright, on with the show! So, No More Heroes is a bit of a more well-known name now. But when I was into the Nintendo Wii, only a weird article from Nintendo Power had possibly clued me into what I was getting myself into here. But honestly, back then, it didn't interest me. It wasn't until later on, when the gaming side of YouTube, top 10s and countdowns and the like, eventually tipped me off to what kind of game No More Heroes actually was. By this time, the second game was out, so I had plenty of material to go over for a while. But of course, I got the first game first, and played a few times on easy before finally tackling normal. Back then, I was still unconfident about my gaming abilities, and this was a new type of game for me. Yeah, No More Heroes is one of my first dives into the hack and slash genre, alongside Dante's Inferno. Funny thinking back on it, but how did this project come to be? Well, Suda Goichi, or Suda51, what a pun, started this as a follow-up game to his Killer 7 game on the GameCube. I recently acquired it, but I have yet to play it due to time constraints. Anyway, I guess things happened. The development went from the Xbox 360 to the Nintendo Wii, and from what I hear in the past, No More Heroes started out as a fighting game and had a hell of a development period, but eventually it did come out. So, is the game any good after all that? So many people talk highly of this game, but can I recommend this after this video? Hunting down the best assassins and becoming #1 for a paycheck? Sounds like my type of gig. The final boss seems to be a guy named Mr. Sir Henry, so let's fight! Let's take on Henry Cooldown! So Travis is literally doing all of this just to get laid. He starts out killing a guy in a cutscene because he got drunk and a hot chick told him to. Now he's trapped in a contract to kill the top 10 assassins in a contest. He kills number 10, Death Metal, and asks Sylvia, the girl from the bar, to sleep with him after he obtains the #1 title. After several assassinations and many more slaughtered in Travis's path, Sylvia and him share a kiss. Things are kind of odd though, as a new competitor shows up stealing a kill from Travis. Later on, after their kiss, Sylvia goes missing, only for her cleanup crew to show up, making things less glamorous for Travis. He eventually calls the organization hosting all of these death fights among assassins, and finds Sylvia's mother instead. Sylvia isn't a host. She's a con artist. Regardless, after some words of wisdom from Sylvia's mommy, Travis decides to finish what he started. He finds the #1 killer, and after some weird revelations, Travis remembers the night in the bar when he met Sylvia. Turns out Travis wasn't in this to get laid. Mostly. He was also looking for revenge from Jean, his half-sister and the killer of Travis's family. She also killed the #1 killer, so she's definitely a threat. How did she kill him? Don't ask. Anyway, after Travis kills his newly found sibling, he goes and rests. In the bathroom, he is bothered by a guy looking to be #1 as well. If you end the game here, that's it. But if you continue on, this guy is killed by the new competitor I mentioned earlier, Henry Cooldown. Now, I put him in the title because he is a handsome foil who just so happens to be Travis's twin brother, as well as Sylvia's husband. He's a real assassin and probably Sylvia's link to all the other assassins that Travis has killed. The two brothers fight to the death, with the end of the game reflecting two evenly matched opponents. Actually, this kind of reminds me of... you know what? Never mind. Now, just take that, throw in a ton of Star Wars, anime, and symbolism, and you have yourselves the story of No More Heroes. Trust me, there's more than just a nerd getting a kiss by killing hundreds of people. The symbolism is off the charts here, but most people aren't going to really look too deeply into all this. Without that, is the story still worth looking into? Well, yes. People who like plots in video games rejoice. I think this one's a winner. It isn't the best plot out there, and it isn't the deepest plot ever, but it's filled with humor and insanity, which is a perfect reflection on what type of game you're getting yourself into here. Before I charge into the gameplay section of my videos, let's dissect the characters here. Not as literally as Travis does, I assure you, but let's look into them objectively. Travis Touchdown, the big man himself, is actually based on Johnny Knoxville from Jackass. He is also an otaku, or an anime nerd, and a wrestling nerd, to put it bluntly. I may know a few wrestling nerds myself. Anyway, Travis is the type of character to jump into things without thinking. This is why there is an intro to each fighter that shows what the fighter will do in the boss fight. It shows what to do in a gameplay form while also showcasing that Travis is an absolute dumbass because he keeps getting hit by all these moves. Sylvia is Russian. She isn't a terrible character, I swear, but if you were to tell me that, hey, there's this Russian blonde female character, I would probably think of something just like her. I don't know, I don't like her as much as Travis does. She seems like a stereotype. Now, Holly Summers, that's a waifu I can get down with.
Why does this keep happening to all my gaming waifus? Monica, what's the meaning of this?
Regardless, there is a bit of Sylvia I kind of respect. She does seem to actually care about Travis by the end of the game. The other characters are personalities from one-off boss fights or weird shopkeepers. It isn't a bad thing. They all have their charm and personality, making them the very memorable characters, actually. Honestly, Dr. P singing before shooting you in a baseball field, the previously mentioned Holly Summers blowing off her own head as she sympathizes with Travis, and Shinobu, the teenage samurai who watches too many movies. All these characters are off the wall, but they make an impression. They aren't just killers, they all have their own views and lives. Jean is another boatload of information as she is the killer of Travis's parents. But you don't hate her by the end of the game. She has her reasons for doing so, and none of them are PG-13 friendly. Also, Travis named his cat after her. Just a side note, for more charm, I suppose. Henry is also an interesting character, but honestly I'm not sure why he is even here other than to be the cool final boss fight. He's often compared to Virgil from Devil May Cry. And it is hinted in the second game that he is the real #1 assassin. Since Henry is a cool stereotype, what makes him interesting is his dynamic with his cheating wife Sylvia and Travis himself. Regardless, there isn't too many characters that aren't memorable, but talking about all of them here may be too long. Needless to say, the game is oozing off the walls with charm and personality. And that's not even counting all the nice little details, like when you're walking up to a fight and Sylvia calls you, and you have to pick up the Wii remote and put it to your face like a cell phone. I just love crap like this, you know? But characterization and charm isn't the only thing that builds a game. It helps, but it's not the only thing, huh? So while the characters are amazing, probably the main reason people want a No More Heroes fighting game, hint hint, does the gameplay match up? Well, yes and no. See, the gameplay works with combos. You fight with high or low attacks depending on the Wiimote's position. Yeah, motion controls, but not as intrusive as you may think. You mostly mash the A button, and where Travis attacks is based on where you're pointing. This works to mess with a foe who is guarding. Changing positions helps with this, I think. Really, most opponents will fall pretty quickly to other moves too, like grapples and wrestling moves. You can block or dodge attacks with ease. You can also summon your bike by pressing 1 on the overworld and have Bishop, the guy who runs the video store, what a great guy, bring it to you. This makes traveling much faster, and you may want to learn the Nitro Boost with it, as, you know, eventually you'll actually use this bike on certain levels. Back to killing people, though. When you face an opponent and kill them, a motion control quick time event shows up for a finishing blow. If you have better swords, you can wipe out several enemies at once with these. When you use a killing strike like this, it plays a lottery machine at the bottom of the screen, giving you a chance for a super move. This often happens as you already cleared the room of the enemies naturally. So that's it. You learn things pretty quickly, but it really isn't all that complex if I'm honest. But simple isn't always bad. How good is this? Well, it is slightly stiff with the motion controls, but it can flow pretty decently. It isn't a bad setup for a game, but it does largely depend on the level design. So the level design is what makes or breaks the game, and honestly, it is the ultimate factor if you're even going to like the game to begin with. The reason I say this is because the game is built around boss fights. Everything else is almost an afterthought. That isn't to say the levels are bad. The high school, the long hallway chasing a mysterious figure, hell, Speed Buster, they're all perfectly fine as long as you don't mind cutting down small armies that get in your way. The first level is pretty slow, but the rest are fine. Killing enemies gets you money, and money gets you better swords after certain boss fights. These katanas allow you to kill larger hordes of enemies, and it spices up the combat a bit, assuming you like seeing blood and money. Getting money, it all sounds pretty easy, right? Well, unfortunately, there's a drawback. First off, yes, doing main missions gets you cash, but normally this actually isn't enough money. The worst part is you have to have money not only to buy new shirts and expensive as hell upgrades to your arsenal, but you need money to enter story missions. You want to fight the next ranked assassin? You need to pony up and pay for that ticket to destroy man. You want to go see a Chris Angel knockoff and kill him while he performs? Who do you think pays for the association that hosts all of this crap? It's a scam, remember? No, you get to pay for that. You need to make it as a killer to earn big bucks, but the Assassins Association won't let you kill for coin unless someone vouches for you. That means you actually have to take side quests to get the rewards. I'll talk about the side questing later, but this setup is the worst thing about this game. These missions need a ton of cash to continue on. And if you want better swords and upgrades, which are even more expensive, this means you have to grind side quests. This is, like I said, the worst part of the game. The boss fights, however, are fantastic. Figured I'd end on a positive note here. So while the levels are interesting, the boss fights are easily where the game shines. The only issue, and yeah, there is an issue, is some of the boss fights have an instant kill move. This can kind of suck first time around. They're beginner traps, more or less. But if you know what they look like, they are terribly hard to dodge. Either, except for maybe bad girls. Yeah. You just have to hit her if you see her crying and she drops her bat. If you avoid her while she's still holding her bat, you live. See? Simple. Honestly, I don't get hit by these often with my experience at this game, but they aren't hard to see coming either. Still, boss fights are easily the best thing to talk about here. The levels may be a step down, but they are entertaining enough, and with everything that happens like mines and bus rides of death, it's getting from main mission to main mission, and the process it takes is just such a low point. Maybe the side missions are really good? Yeah. Survey says nope. Honestly, the way side jobs work is that you get a regular mundane job first. Sauron takes on coconut gathering. Sauron takes on the lawn. Sauron takes on scorpions. Wait, that one sounds like I'm trying to fight a band. They are silly, stupid, and honestly, they aren't terrible minigames, but they aren't super fun either. They only get you a small sum of money too, but doing one gets you access to the assassin side jobs. Alright. The assassin side jobs are basic kill people, like a CEO of a crappy pizza company, and the rest are actually really generic people to kill. Odd the CEO one is specific. His kids come back in some side missions too. Oh well, that's one unimportant family dead. Anyway, these aren't terrible, but some will gain you a decent chunk of change. You will have to grind these eventually to get everything, and grind even more just to finish the game. You can buy videos at the video store, which, luckily, Travis's cool bro friend Bishop is the clerk because the video store keeps calling for their other wrestling videos back. But these videos upgrade your suplexes, which is nice. Man, Bishop is such a great guy. You can also buy physical upgrades that help health and attack power. If you have upgraded sword, This will make your attack power even better. You can upgrade your light fixture lightsaber twice. One makes your sword a club, which is slower but strong as hell. The other makes this an actual katana, which is really good range, and pretty much every killing blow kills as many enemies in front of you as you could possibly see. If you're playing the PlayStation 3 version of the game, and yes, it exists, there are a few added bonuses like a very sweet mode which changes some female outfits, and a few added side missions and boss fights from the second game. The graphics look nice too.
The thing is that this Konami, the Wii version was published by Ubisoft. Anyway, the thing is that this game doesn't run as smoothly as the Wii version. Yeah, there's added content, and yeah, it looks cool, but there's screen tearing, slowdowns. Honestly, I just opted for the Wii version over this. It's not bad if you need a controller, but yeah. Besides, most of the extra stuff you get in this is basically not YouTube-friendly costumes for the female characters and stuff that's in the second game. So I'll just talk about some of that stuff then.
All in all, you can pick your favorite version, but I prefer the Wii version myself. There is plenty to do in the original game, even a few things to do in empty overworld. This place is huge for no particular reason, but you can find t-shirts and dumpsters, or buy them like a regular boring person, and you can find balls! Balls allow you some specific moves if you gather enough of them. Yay! Honestly though, the side crap you have to do to beat the game isn't really fun to grind, and you will probably have to grind if you want the best stuff. Like a beam katana, you don't have to wiggle your Wiimote like an idiot in the middle of a boss fight just to charge. Because yes, you can also buy upgrades that allow you better battery packs, and some that literally just have infinite battery packs. Also, if you beat normal mode, you get a chance to face Henry Cooldown, the best boss fight in the game. There are easily hit and miss issues here, honestly. Everything helps you grow stronger, but getting that point isn't the most fun part of the game. So, yeah, at least there's some decent minigames to, boost your stats in the gym. Yeah, that's about all I got here. Let's wrap this up, shall we? Jesus, the review is getting as long as Peony. Whoops, wrong game. Anyway, No More Heroes is an oddball game. The writing is fantastic, the gameplay is simplistic and fun, but the way you get from mission to mission is easily the worst part of the game. You have to play the weird side jobs and grind some of them, and the ones worth grinding are honestly killing ones, which is the same thing you normally do in the game anyway. Still, outside of that, the levels are decently fun and the boss fights are mostly fantastic overall. That's where the game shines, as well as the writing. Is it worth it? In my opinion, yes. Mostly because the game is pretty cheap, honestly, and the writing and boss fights are so good it kind of makes up for it. Given not all these boss fights are winners, but for the most part, yeah, they're all pretty decent. It doesn't help that it takes a few loading screens to retry these side missions. Oh, God. The game is slow and tedious because of this, but when it does well, it does great. I recommend checking the game out for sure. As for the HD version for the PlayStation 3, if you really need a controller, then by all means. It adds some cool things, but doesn't run as smoothly as it should, so it adds and subtracts.
Either way, I think people should really try No More Heroes eventually. You may not absolutely love it, there is a decent chance for that, but overall, it is a pretty good game. But next time you see me in a game review, I should be talking about No More Heroes 2. Often considered to be the better game of the two No More Heroes games, which is a good sign, considering I already thought this game was pretty decent, barring one or two larger flaws. So if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to hit the subscribe button as well as the bell icon down below for live updates on my content. And until next time, take care, my minions.